come on down to your mat. If you have diastasis, you're going to roll down to your side and come all the way down to your back. Just take a moment to arrive where you are. Lay on the floor, wherever you're sitting, just arrive here. Feel your body in touch with whatever it is that you're laying on, and take a couple breaths. Let your mind catch up with your body. And anything else that happened today, you can just let it go. Leave it outside of the room. And then draw your right knee into your chest. Extend your left leg all the way out on the floor. Press that left thigh down. And then start to breathe into your mid-back. So nice full breaths in your back. Good. Now draw that knee in and bring your ribs down a little bit. So you're creating a little more tension in your core. You're taking the right knee across over towards the left. You're going to bring your whole body over and across. Lay on your left side, then keep your ribs down and let your right arm open to the side. So what I want you to pay attention to here is bringing those ribs together and staying connected in your core to let that arm open. Now, a key thing here is that you're going to feel a lot of release and stretch in the shoulder, and your arm doesn't have to be on the floor. Take your other hand, put it on your diastasis or that connective tissue, just check in with it. And then when you get settled, take a couple breaths. Good. So when you're in a twist, we really want to drop those ribs down. And the twist happens from your upper back, not from your lower back. So we're trying to create the ribs forward so you feel even more stretch in the front of the chest. One more big breath here. You might feel a little release in the outer hips too. Good. And then bring your right knee back in and then extend your right leg all the way out. Draw your left knee in towards your chest, right side towards the floor. And you can round your back, bring your ribs down. Good. And then take that left knee across over towards the right. So lay all the way onto your right side. Keep the ribs down and then drop the left arm out. Good. And again, you don't have to work towards getting that shoulder towards the floor, but keep that connection in the deep core and make sure that you're not pulling on that diastasis. Ribs are moving down towards your pelvis. You'll feel a lot more stretch up here in the pecs. Good. One more really big deep breath here. Good. And then come all the way back to the center. Gather your knee in. Great. Drop both feet down to the floor. Press your hands into the floor and scoop your hips up. Bring your hips shoulder height. Ribs moving down towards your pelvis. Glutes are squeezing. Good. And just see if you can keep those ribs in alignment with the hips. Good. One more big breath here. And then drop all the way down to the floor. Find neutral in your pelvis and shift your pelvis forward and back. Find the landscape of your hips. And then steady right over the sacrum, the bottom of your pelvis. Take a big full breath in. Exhale, squeeze and lift your pelvic floor. Draw in and up. Good. Now keep some tension on your deep core. We're going to drop one knee out to the side. So just very gently drop one knee at a time, keeping your deep core engaged as you're dropping out and as you're lifting. So what you'll notice is that your core has to work harder on one side versus the other, which is the essence of twisting, right? So one side of your body moving in one direction, the other side of your body moving in the other, or upper and lower body. So keep your hands on your core. Just feel what's happening in there. See if you can keep some tension. Dropping that weight out and bring it back. So the breath is inhale as you go out, exhale as you bring it back in. Inhale out, exhale in. Good. Good. Keep exploring. Do 4 more here. Out and in. Good. Notice the position of your hips. See if you're starting to wake up those abdominal muscles a little bit. Good. And then take the hands down to the floor. Scoop the hips up. Come back into that bridge position. And so remember, ribs right over hips. We don't want to over flare. Keep a small engagement in the core. Good. And then drop your hips all the way back down to the floor. Take another bracing breath. A full breath in. Exhale, squeeze and lift from the pelvic floor. Brace into your core and then take your arms overhead. Make fists with your hands. Good. So we're going to inhale, take both arms out to the sides. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Right? Inhale, drop them out like you're doing a fly. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Right? So obviously this is not so challenging because you don't have anything in your hands. The way to make this challenging is to add some weight. Right, good. One more here. And we're going to alternate arms. So pause here, just take the right arm out and then back in. You're going to feel this a lot more in your obliques because one side of your body is working, the other is stabilizing. And again, if you want to use water bottles or 3-pound weights or 5-pound weights to really feel the effects of one arm going out at a time, you will notice you really have to use your obliques, right? Good. All right, one more each side, and then we're going to add the two together, top and bottom. All right, so pause here, feet on the floor. We're going to take the right arm out, left knee open, and then bring it back to the center. Left arm out, right knee open, and back to the center. Good, so go slowly here. Feel your deep core stabilizing to keep your hips from moving. Those are your obliques, stabilizing your spine. And this is essentially anti-rotation work. We're working against the rotation of the core. And you can feel the core pulling one side over the other as you're working here. You can always add more weight later once you feel like you have full control over your core. Good. Keep going here. Stay stable in your core. Last 4 here. I love these because they're so subtle, but they're so deep. You really feel it. I mean, not even holding weights. It's like you can totally feel it. All right, last one here. Good. And you can rest. Elbows down, hands down, scoop their hips up, come into a bridge. Good. All right, and then drop your hips down. Come on over to your side. And we're going to come into a lunge. So come up to your knees, step your right foot forward, and then we're going to take the hands on the inside of your foot. Tuck your back toes into the floor and lift your back knee off the floor. If you need to stay here, you totally can, right? But lifting that back knee, if you need to put your hands on blocks, you can totally do that too. Right? If you want to bring the floor up to you. All right. Now from here, I want you to think of drawing your ribs back. So you're rounding your back just a little bit to engage in that deep core. And then take your right hand onto your right knee and open your chest towards your right leg. Good. See if you can bring your ribs down towards your pelvis. You'll feel your deep core muscles turn on. Chest goes towards your knee. Take your hand onto your hip. And what we're working towards here is full connection in the core. So your core is staying stable. We're going to open from our shoulders. Good. Rotate through your shoulders to open up, but keep that chest moving towards your knees. So if you look at me for just a second, if you're rounding forward, this is connected. Sometimes when we're in this position, we tend to do this, right? Which is a lot of pressure on the core. So close that core in, bring your chest towards your knee. All right, open through your shoulders. And then final piece, extend your arm right out of your shoulder socket. Good. Use your legs, use your deep core. Might even feel a little burning in your core, which is really awesome. Good. If you want to stay with your hand on your hip, you totally can. Keep breathing here. Full deep breaths. Good. We're just working on that position. If your arm is extended, you can bring it back down to your knee and then back down to the floor. Good. Drop your back knee to the floor. Come back to all fours. Come on up. Roll your wrists out and roll the shoulders out. Good. And we'll do the other side. So coming back down to all fours. Left foot comes forward. You need to come here. You totally can. Hands on the inside of the foot or up to blocks or a table. Back toes tuck in. Lift that back knee off the floor. Now, before we start twisting, we're going to engage the deep core. So find a little rounding in your back. Rotate your chest towards your left knee from that rounding and put your hand on your knee. Bring your chest close to your knee. You'll feel a little bit of a crunch in your core, right? Tailbone is tucking under. Ribs are moving towards your pelvis. Hand on your knee. Good. Now open your shoulders from your mid-back. And then the final piece is to lift that left arm right out of the shoulder socket. So if when you're twisting, your shoulders are here, that arm is going to go out at an angle, right? We don't need to arc it back, try to reach a certain goal. If your shoulders are all the way open, then you can lift, right? But work your chest towards your knee. Keep lifting from your deep core. Stay here for 3 more breaths. So this is definitely an isometric hold, but we're training the body what to do in this position. That's intense. Good. One more breath here. Good. Bring your left hand back down, drop your back knee to the floor. We're going to go back to downward dog. So you can tuck your toes, lift into that V position. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to. Send your hips high and then pedal out your feet. So press one heel and then the other heel down into the floor. Good. All right. Good. And then bring your knees down to the floor. Come into all fours. And we'll take a bird dog with alternating arms and legs. So find your hands underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. Take a full breath in. Exhale, find that bracing breath. And then without shifting to the right, lift your left knee off the floor, right? You'll feel that deep core engage. And then slide that leg all the way back, lift it up high without letting go of the core, right? We've been here before. And then reach your right arm towards the center of the room or the opposite side of the room. Good. Now we're going to add some breath here. Good. We're going to inhale, bring the elbow and knee together. Exhale, extend all the way out, right? Keep that core engaged as you move. Inhale, bring it together. And exhale, extend. Good. Inhale. And exhale, extend. Inhale. And exhale, extend. So we did this one in the bracing week. This is bracing, but it's also prepping you for twisting because we're working obliques. We're working one side of the body on the upper body and the other side on the lower body. Good. Take one more round here. Inhale and exhale, and then come back to all fours. Good. You can sit into puppy dog. Take the arms forward, forehead down to the floor. Rest here for just a moment. Spread through your glutes. Make any movements that feel good. Good. And then come back up onto all fours. Roll the shoulders back if you've gotten any tightness up there. And then take a nice full breath. Exhale from your deep core. Good. Without shifting to the left, lift your right knee off the floor. And then slide that right leg back. Keep the core engaged. And left arm reaches towards the opposite side of the room. Good. Stay connected in your core. Inhale, bring the elbow and knee to meet. Exhale, extend all the way out. Good. Use your breath. Inhale and exhale. Good. Yeah. Find as little movement as possible in your core. And then check in with your core. See if you feel your obliques working to bring opposite knee and elbow together. Good. Last three here. Good. Stay really connected and controlled in the core. And these are hard, y'all. I'm sure you can hear a lot more of my breathing now that I have this microphone right next to my mouth. Good. One more. Inhale. And inhale, extend all the way out. Good. Hand down, knee down. Nice. Good. Come back to downward dog. Pedal out your feet. Bend one knee and then the other knee. All right. And then take your feet a little wider than your mat. Walk your hands all the way back to meet your feet. Bend your knees. Take your hands on your hips. Find your hip hinge. And then exhale, use your glutes. Come all the way up to stand. Now grab your block or your pillow. We're going to take the feet wide. You can hold the block in your hands. It doesn't have to be close to your body, but we're going to do what's called wood choppers. We think of twisting as coming from the core, but it's really trying to stabilize through the core, right, as we're moving. So we're going to take that block. You're going to go down towards your left knee. So notice my right heel is off the floor, right? I'm sitting into this left hip. And then take that block all the way up and over. The left heel comes off the floor. Inhale back down and exhale across. Good. Inhale back down. Yeah. And exhale across. So you're getting a little swivel in the legs. We're also working outer hips here. Right? So this is a really subtle twist. But again, we're working that stabilization as the arms and legs are moving in different directions. Good. And where you can challenge that twist is on both ends of this movement. So when you come down, you can add a little bit more rotation. When you come up, you can add a little more rotation too. Right? So that's how you can make it a little bit harder. Good. Sit into this back hip when you rotate out. It's really good for runners, right? Getting into that back glute back here, pushing off from your toes. Good. Last two here. Engage through your core. And one more. Great. Come back to the center, shake it out, and we'll go to the other side. So feet wide. Block to the other side. Right heel can come off of the left foot and then come all the way up and over. Inhale down and exhale lift. Like you're doing a giant wood chop. Good. And then notice your hips. So a lot of twisting actually happens in our hips, right? And skillful twisting is allowing our hips to internally and externally rotate, right? Which is what we're working on here a bit. You'll notice this leg is internally rotating. As you come down, we're internally rotating here, pressing back. Yep. Internal and external. Yeah. So while we think of twisting as coming from our core, it's actually coming from our thoracic spine, our shoulders, and our hips. Good. So see how much movement you can find in your hips rather than your core. Good. Last three here. Lifting up. Good. Sit back into that right hip as you rotate. Good. One more. Awesome. Good. Come back to the center. Roll those shoulders out. Come down to your back. So bring your block or pillow with you. So the block or ball is going to go between your right hand and your left knee, right? So opposite hand and knee, and then press knee into the block, hand into the block, and immediately you'll feel your core engage. Press the hand into the block, knee into the block, find that engagement. All right, you can choose to stay here. Take your hand on your core, see what's happening in your core and any separation that you might have. And then left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Good. Now take a big breath. Exhale, engage. We're going to inhale here and then exhale, slide that right leg out, left arm up overhead. Inhale, bring it all the way back. Good. Exhale, extend it all the way out. And then inhale, bring it all the way back. Good. Feel free to check in with that connective tissue at any point. It should feel really solid. And if it doesn't, you can just go back to the breath, right? Press into that block. Exhale out, inhale back. Ooh, this makes me sweat. Exhale out, inhale back. Take your time. Go at your own pace. Exhale out, inhale back. Good. We just got 3 more here. If you're feeling this a ton in your hip flexors, press more from your hand. Try to relax your hip flexor a little bit more. Good. Last one here. And then come back to the center. Stay here. Press that hand into the block. Take 3 more breaths. Imagine you want to pop that block or pillow between your hand and your knee. Good. Find that depth of the core. 1 more breath. Good. And then drop your left foot down to the floor. Awesome. Shake it out and we'll switch sides. Block or book or ball goes in your left hand. Right knee comes up. So right knee, left hand pressing together. Go ahead and press. Find that resistance. A little rib drop, a little tailbone tuck. Find that engagement even on the inhale. So we remain braced even on the inhale. Good. Now reach that right arm towards the ceiling. Take an inhale and then exhale. Slide that left leg all the way out. Inhale, drag it all the way back and exhale out. Good. So go as slowly as you need to stay controlled and connected, right? And because we're doing right knee, left hand, we're getting those obliques on board, which is what we need for really good twisting. Good. Exhale out. Inhale back in. Good. Exhale out. Inhale back in. Good. Last 3. Exhale out. Inhale in. Exhale out. And in. Good. Last one. And in. Good. And you can rest. Drop your block off to the side. Lift your hips. Come into a bridge. Yeah, relax your hip flexors, ribs in alignment with your hips. Take a couple breaths here. Press the back of your head into the floor. And take 3 more deep breaths here, engaging in your glutes. Awesome. Good. And then you can rest. Drop your hips all the way down to the floor. Now roll to your side. We're going to come to a downward dog. Tuck your toes, lift up and back, and then bend your knees as much as you need to. Find that length in your low back. Pedal out your feet, bend one knee and then the other knee. And then walk your hands all the way back to meet your feet. Take your hands on your hips, inhale. And as you exhale, come all the way up to stand. Right, so feet are hip distance apart, back leg is in a kickstand. Hips rotate towards your front knee. Sit back into your hip. Yes, so you're rotating through your hips. You'll feel a lot of release in that back hip. And then exhale, come up. Good. Inhale, sit back into that hip. And exhale, come up. So I'll show you guys from a couple of angles. So we're here. So it's the hips that are rotating, not the chest. Right? Which is why I have you keep your hands on your hips so you can see where your hips are in space. Right? So you're rotating back, sitting back into that leg, and then coming all the way back up. Yes. Good. So I'll show you from back here too. So we're sitting back and then coming all the way back up. So what you should feel is some expansion in that hip on the way down, some lift on the way up. Good. Nice. Last 3 here. See if you can find that extension all the way back and come up. Good. All the way back. You can even put your hand on that hip to really sit back into it and back up. And one more. And back up. Good. And you can rest and shake out your hips. Right. So we'll do the other side. So left foot forward, right leg is in a kickstand position. Hands on your hips. We'll inhale, sit back into your left hip. So your hips are rotating back and then drive through this glute to come all the way up to stand. Yeah. So I'll show you from this side. All the way back and coming all the way up to stand. Good. So we're working internal rotation of this top thigh. Good. Which is a twist. Right? We need this expansion in the back of the glute to be able to twist with integrity. So all the way back and come back up. Feel free to take that hand on the hip to feel that backward expansion. And exhale, come up. Good. Last 3. Hips rotate. Sitting back into that glute. I'm sitting back. Good. And one more. All the way back. Good. And all the way back up. Great. Back to the floor for our final round here. So coming all the way onto your back and then draw your knees in, rock side to side on your back. Good. Let go of any tension in your hips. And then draw your knees together, roll all the way over to the right. So you're laying all the way on your right side. Drop your ribs down and then let your left arm open towards the other side of the room. Your shoulder may not go to the floor, and that's okay. But keep those ribs moving towards your pelvis. Keep connected in the core. You'll get more benefit out of the glutes and out of the shoulder stretch. Go ahead, breathe into your upper back. Left hand comes back, gather your knees into your chest, and then come all the way over to the left. Whole body over to the left. Drop your ribs towards your hips, and then open your right arm towards the floor behind you. Keep those ribs dropping down. Full deep breaths. Good. Really opening through the front of the right shoulder. And then just explore here with how much range of motion you can encourage in your shoulders and maybe even in your hips. Good. Play around with your wrist position, which will affect how you feel it in your arms. Good. One more big deep breath here. Good. Bring that right arm back over to the center. And then come all the way up to sit on your knees and take a puppy dog. So both arms forward, forehead to the floor, sit nice and tall. Find some traction in your spine. Your hips are still lifted. Big breaths underneath your shoulder blade. and in your low back. Good. And then walk your hands back towards your shoulders. Come to stand on your knees. We'll bring the right foot forward and then out to the side. Right hand goes on the inside of the knee. Left arm reaches up and over in a side bend. So you can feel that whole stretch in the left side obliques. Left thigh presses down. One more breath. Good. Inhale, come back to the center and right knee back. Left foot forward and to the side. Left hand on the inside of the left foot, right arm up overhead. Take a nice big stretch. Right shin presses into the floor. One more breath. Good. Lifting all the way back out. Excellent. Roll those shoulders out. Squeeze up and back like you were squeezing sponges between your shoulder blades. Shake out your wrists. Shake out your shoulders. You are all set.